Thank you for joining this lesson. Welcome all. We are going to discuss the MOKASA Joint Examination, where we are going to put our focus on section 1 of this mathematics paper. So before we start, make sure you subscribe, like, and share our videos with your other friends. Share this link widely to them so that they might also join this intense revision. Share the link. We are going to discuss the paper now. We are going to start in a few. Make sure you have your tools ready, for this is a very, very good revision paper as we keep preparing for our upcoming Kcse exams. As we keep preparing, it's very important that you ensure you've understood this concept better here. You've understood. You can drop a comment in the chat section telling us where you are following us live from. So let's have a look at this MOKASA 1. Question number 1, that without using a calculator or mathematical tables, evaluate a half of 2/5 divided by 3/15 plus 7/10 times 6/7 into 1.5 multiplied by a third, all of this being divided by 5/3 being multiplied by 6/10 divided by 5/4 minus a quarter. Remember, you've been told not to use a calculator or a log table. So we are going to start working out the numerator part of this question. We are going to start by working out the numerator part. We are having a half of 2/5 divided by 3/15. This one you add it to 7/10. Then you multiply by 6/7 into brackets. 1.5 is like saying 3/2 multiplied by a third. So in this particular case, you have to follow the rules of BODMAS. We start with brackets and deal with what is inside the brackets first. When we look at the brackets, we have 3/2 and a third. So this will now evaluate to a half of 2/5 divided by 3/15, then added to 7/10, being multiplied by 6/7 into, let's work out what is inside the brackets first. 3/2 times a third, that becomes a half. That way. Then the next step we are going to do is to open the brackets. We are still inside we are still dealing with the brackets. So this is going to become now a half of 2/5 divided by 3/15 plus 7/10. Then you multiply this by 6/7 times a half becomes 3/7. 3/7. Then after that you go to off, you perform it. A half of 2/5 will become 1/5. So this will now be 1/5 being divided by 3/15 added to 7/10 and multiplied by 3/7. After off you have division. So we are going to divide. This will now become, when you divide 1/5 divided by 3/15, this is just like saying 1/5. You multiply this by 15/3, then plus 7/10 multiplied by 3/7. That is where we are at that particular point. So upon reaching there, our next step is now going to be, when you take a half, a fifth times this, 3 here once, 3 into 15 here, it will be 5, then 5 and 5 will cancel, this will be like saying 1. So this will give you 1 plus 7 over 10, then multiplied by 3 over 7. So this will be like saying, now after division you have multiplication, this will be 1 plus 7 over 10 times 3 over 7, that will become 3 over 10. This will be 3 over 10. And this will become like saying 1 whole number, 3 over 10 is our numerator, which in improper fraction it is going to be, let's just leave it at that particular point. That is our numerator. After we've gotten our numerator, ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to execute the denominator part. With our denominator, we have 5 over 3 being multiplied to 6 over 10 divided by 5 over 4, then you less a quarter. And also here you have to apply the BODMAS. We start with brackets, we don't have, off is not there, division is there. So we'll have this as 5 over 3 being multiplied by 6 over 10. The division changes to multiplication, then the next fraction reciprocates to 4 over 5. Then you have to less a quarter. When you simplify 2 here 2, 2 here 5, so this will now become 5 over 3 being multiplied by 12. Here once, here 2. This is like saying being multiplied by 2 over 4, by 4 over 5. This one we are multiplying by 4 all over 5. Then now you less a quarter. So we are having that. I hope I've done well. We had 6 over 10 being multiplied by 2 over, how have I done that part? 6 over 10, let me cross check once again. Here, let me just rewrite this. I want to see what it will evaluate to well. We had this as 6 over 10 times 5 times 4 over 5, whereby we had 2 here 2, 2 here 5. So this could have been 12 over 25. 12, so this is like saying you multiply this by 12 over 25, then you less a quarter. You less a quarter. When you perform that multiplication, this will now become 5 here once, 5 here 5, here 1, 4 here 4. So that will be 4 over, we are going to have this S. When you have 5 over 12 times this will be 4 over 5. Now you minus a quarter. Remember, we don't have to use calculators. So what is the LCM? The LCM here will be 20 all over 20 divided by 5. Let me write it a bit down for the interest of work organization. The LCM here is 20 all over 20 divided by 5 is 4. 4 times 4. This will be 16 minus 20 divided by 4 is 5 times 1, it will be 5. This gives you the denominator having an answer of 11 over 20. So now we have numerator over denominator. This will be the numerator, 1 whole number 1 over 13. This is like saying 13 over 10. So we are going to have this as 13 over 10. You divide this by 11 over 20. And when you are dividing, what are you going to get? This will be like saying 13 over 10. Then you multiply by the reciprocal, 20 over 11. Whereby this will be now 10 here, one other friends, so that they might also enjoy how we are working out such like questions. So that they also enjoy how exactly we are working out these particular questions. how exactly we are working out these particular questions. Let us now have a look at question number. Let us now have a look at question number 20. Question number 2. Question number 2, and gentlemen. Simplify the expression 4x squared minus 16y squared all over 6x squared minus 8xy minus 8y squared. Let's start by simplifying the numerator. When you look at the numerator, we have 4x squared minus 16y squared. This is a difference of two squares which can be expanded to 2x minus 4y, then 2x plus 4y. That is the numerator. After getting the numerator part, we are now free to work out the denominator part. When you look at your denominator, we are having 6x squared minus 8xy minus 8y squared. Let's solve this particular question. We are looking for two numbers whose sum is equivalent to -8, and the product of those two particular numbers should be equivalent to -48. The two numbers here are, when you look at it well, the two numbers should be -12 and 4. The two numbers here should be 4 and -12. When we substitute, we are going to have 6x squared minus 12xy plus 4xy minus 8y squared. That is what we are having at that particular step. After getting that, ladies and gentlemen, let us now see how we can do this. We are going to pair up these values here. We are still continuing with the denominator expression. So, in between 6x squared and -12xy, the common factor there is 6x. We factor it out. 6x, whereby you'll be left with x minus 2y, then plus 4y into x minus 2y that way. Those that are outside the bracket, we wrap them inside one bracket. That is the 6x plus the 4y. Then those inside the brackets, because they are similar, we pick one, that is x minus 2y. This is the answer for our denominator part. Let's now write our fraction was numerator divided by the denominator. Our numerator has been, I want you to be very, very keen. I want you to be very, very keen with this particular question. Our numerator has been, I want you to be keen, ladies and gentlemen. When you look at our numerator, we had 2x minus 4y into 2x plus 4y over the denominator, which we found to be 6x plus 4y, then x minus 2y. That's what we had. Are we leaving at that particular point? No. This question has to proceed. Now the next step is going to be very crucial, so give me a listening ear. In this particular step, when you look at the numerator, still the numerator can be factored out further because 2 is common all through, so we can factor out 2 in the numerator part. And when we factor out 2, we are now going to remain with Maybe let me have it this way. I'm still dealing with the numerator over the denominator. The numerator we can factor out 2 because it's very common, so 2 into, I'll now be left with x minus 2y, then x plus 2y, all over 6x we're having here. In fact, this 6x, this 6x plus 4y, we can also factor out 2 here. We can also factor out the 2, or even first we can maintain. Let me just maintain. I'll show you where it will come. We have 6x plus 4y, then x minus 2y. That's what we have. Looking at the question well, x minus 2y and x minus 2y can cancel. And once they cancel, because we have x minus 2y and x minus 2y, so let's have them cancel out. Let me see. We had there plus, yes. So this one here and this one here cancel out. Once they cancel out, I'm now left with 2 into x plus 2y all over. Here it is 6x plus 4y, but still 2 is common. We can factor out the 2 into 3x plus 2y. 3x plus 2y. Whereby again, at that particular point, the 2 and the 2 can cancel out. Then you are going to have your answer. You are now going to have your answer as x plus 2y all over 3x plus 2y. That is how you attend question number 2 of this particular paper. Let us now look at question number 3. Foreign exchange on 13th of February 2026 was given as shown below. You can see the table, the currency, the buying column and the selling column. A tourist came to Kenya from London with 6,000 euros, which he converted to Kenyan shillings at a bank. While in Kenya, he spent a total of 300,000, then converted the balance into sterling pounds at the same bank. Calculate the amount in sterling pounds he received. So, we do have 2 acronyms. We have the FOKEBU. FOKEBU meaning foreign to Kenya, use the buying column. Then the Kcse. Kcse means Kenya to foreign, use the selling column. This guy came to Kenya with 6,000 euros. This 6,000 euros is foreign. He is converting them to Kenyan shillings. Foreign to Kenya meaning he is using the FOKEBU, so he must use the buying column. So let us see the relationship between euros and Kenyan shillings in the buying column. You can see that 1 euro is equivalent to how many Kenyan shillings? How much Kenyan shillings is there in the buying column? 147.95. What about the 6,000 euros? You cross multiply. This will be 6,000 being multiplied by 147.95. Then you divide this by 1. So this is going to be, when you multiply that, remember to be very accurate, 6,000 times 147.95 is giving you 887,700 shillings. That is the amount received in Kenyan shillings. Then we are being told, while in Kenya he spent a total of 300,000 and converted the balance into sterling pounds. Let's compute the balance. To get the balance, you take the total amount this guy had, 887,700. You less what he spent. He spent 300,000. So meaning this person was left with 587,700 Kenyan shillings. That is the balance that the tourist was left with after his expenditure. Now concerning this balance, he decided to convert the balance to sterling pounds. Now we are converting the Kenyan shillings to sterling pound. That is Kcse. We have to use the selling column. So you can see that 1 pound, 1 sterling pound is equivalent to 131 shillings and 50 cents in the selling column. What about this balance of 587,700? You cross multiply. This will be 1 multiplied by 587,700, then being divided by 131.50. And when you do this computation, we are going to get, I want you to be very, very keen here. This is going to be, let us do this division. 587,700 divided by 131 and 50 cents. This is going to give you 4,469.201521 sterling pounds. Sterling pounds. Sterling pound. That is how you respond to that particular question. That's how you respond to that particular question. Let's make progress and get now a look at question number 4 of this paper. If you are really gaining something, just go to the chat section and tell us, I am learning. I am learning. Go to the chat section and comment, I am learning, if you feel there is something you are gaining from STEM Smart Academy. Remember, our consultation number is 07 41 30 43 11. 41 30 43 11. Solve the simultaneous inequalities. 5 minus x all over 2 is less than or equal to x plus 1 over 3, which is less than or equal to 2x plus 4 over negative 3, and list all the integral values of x. And list all the integral values of x. We are going to divide this into 2. So this will be the first set, and this will be the second set. Taking the first set, we have 5 minus x all over 2 being less than or equal, being greater than or equal to x plus 1 over 3. Step number 1, we are going to remove the denominators by multiplying by the LCM. The LCM of 2 and 3 is 6. So I'll multiply this by 6. Also this other side by 6. So 2 here once, 2 here 3. 3 here once, 3 here 2. So I'm going to have 3 times 5. This is going to be, maybe let me just write it this way. This is like saying 3 into 5 minus x. We are having 3 into 5 minus x is greater than or equal to 2 into x plus 1. Upon opening now the brackets, we are going to have this as 15 minus 3x is less than or equal to 2x plus 2. Let's collect the like terms. This will be 15 minus 2 being less than or equal to 2x plus 3. 2x plus 3. Is it really 2x? No. This should be 2 plus 3, not 2x plus 3. This should be equivalent to 2. What have I done? 2x plus 3x. Yes. That is how you should have written that. 2x plus 3x. Then we make progress. 15 minus 2, that is going to be 13. 13 is less than or equivalent to 5x. Because 2x plus 3x, this will be 5x. That means when you divide through by 5, you are going to get 13 over 5 being greater than or equal to 5 to x now. Let's now solve the other part of the inequality, whereby we've been given x plus 1 over 3 is less than or equal to 2x plus 4 over negative 3. Let's multiply through by the LCM, and the LCM in this case is going to be negative 3. So this part here you multiply by negative 3, also this one here by negative 3. So 3 here once 3 here, 3 into negative 3 is negative 1. So we are going to have this, so this one and this one will cancel. So I'm going to have now negative 1 into x plus 1 being greater than or equal to 2x plus 4, because negative 3 and negative 3 cancelled out. So let us see. So negative 1 times x, that will be negative x. Negative 1 times positive 1, that will be negative 1 minus 1, is greater than or equal to 2x plus 4. 2x plus 4. Then upon collecting like terms, I'll have here negative x minus 2x being greater than or equal to 4, now plus 1. Negative x minus 2x, this will be negative 3x, which is less than or equal to 5. Dividing through by negative 3. Now remember, take this note. Whenever you divide by a negative, the inequality symbol is going to change. So when you have negative 3x over negative 3 being greater than or equal to 5 over 3 over negative 3, I've divided through by a negative. So I'll have my answer as x is now less than or equal to negative 5 over 3. I hope that one has been well elaborated. That one is well elaborated. So let's make progress. Let's now make this progress. Let's make the progress. So what will be our combined inequality? Our combined inequality is going to be our combined, let me see this particular point. I had negative x minus 2x being greater than that. There's something I want to see. This means that when you look at it well, I'm interested in this other part. I had to remove the denominator by multiplying through by 3. So this became negative x minus 2x. Was that working correct? Let's see from this particular point first. We have this inequality as x plus 1 over 3 is greater than or equal to 2x plus 4 over negative 3. The LCM here is negative 3, so we had to multiply through by negative 3. This would have been negative x into negative 1 into x plus 1 less than or equal to 2x plus 4. This is negative x minus 1 being equivalent to that. So negative x minus 2x is greater than or equal to 4 plus 1. Okay. So in this case it means I'm not getting convinced with these particular values that I'm getting here. The reason being, with this one here, that is the 13 over 5. Remember that 13 over 5, that can be written as the 2.6. So when we say that that 2.6 is greater than x, that is very, very correct. Now my major concern is at this other particular point. Have we solved this inequality well? The x plus 1 over that. This is my major concern, because what would have happened if I cross multiplied? Because I had the 2, I would have even cross multiplied. Let me maybe view it first in that dimension 2, so that I see if I get the exact thing I want. It would have been negative 3x minus 3 being greater than or equal to 6x plus 12. Then when I collect, that would have been negative 9x being greater than or equal to 15. Then when you divide, when you cross multiply, no, there is something here that I feel there is something that we need to iron out. Thank you, learners, to all those who are following live. Don't forget dropping a comment saying, I am learning, if you are gaining something from STEM Smart Academy. Share this link widely to your other friends so that they might also join and enjoy these lessons. So that they might also join and enjoy these particular lessons. So we had, let us have a look at this. And I want to be very, very keen. We had here 3x, negative 3, we had 3, where did we have the negative? Negative x minus 2x is this one, this one when you divide the inequality symbol changes. What would have happened? I'm just curious, I want to see something here. If I would have taken this to the other side, so that I would have had negative 1 minus 3 being greater than or equal to 2x, now this would have been plus 3. This would have been now negative 4 being greater than or equal to, this would have been 2x plus, let me see, if this one crossed over, I'll have had negative, where am I picking it from? I'm picking it from this particular point, negative, let me have this. There is something I want to see and iron out here. We have negative x, so I have negative 1 minus 4 being less than, greater than or equal to 2x plus x. This will be now negative 5 being greater than or equal to positive 3x. And when you rearrange, this will now become, when you divide through by this will mean negative 5 over 3, negative 5 over 3 is greater than or equal to x. Is it what we are getting here? Yes, we are getting the very, very thing. I'm just curious. I'm just curious. Let us see again, because I'm not getting that much convinced. I'm not getting that much convinced. We had what is the negative thing here? What is the negative thing here? I think to have this one well clarified, what I can do here, because I think this is going to give my learners some challenge. What I can do here, I should have cross multiplied. That one will be very, very easy to all my learners. Let me show you how we can achieve that in our second part of this inequality. By the time we were having, let me have it broken down to this step. Let me have it broken down to this particular step. That when we were having x plus 1 over 3 being greater than or equal to 2x plus 4 over negative 3. To remove this, you can even cross multiply. When you cross multiply, now we are going to have negative 3 into x plus 1 is greater than or equal to 3 into 2x plus 4. So when you open the brackets, this is going to be now, this is now going to be negative 3x minus 3 is greater than or equal to 6x plus 12. 6x plus 12. Then we collect like terms. We're going to have this as negative 3x minus 6x is greater than or equal to 12 plus 3. This will be now negative 9x is, I want you to take note of this. I want you to take full note of this, because we are involving the negative, the inequality symbol here had to change. The inequality symbol here had to change, and now it is going to change. It's now going to change to being now less than or equal to. So this will be now negative 9x is less than or equal to 15. So that means, if that is the case, when you divide through by negative 9, you're going to get now x being now greater than or equal to 15 over negative 9. So that means that x is greater than or equal to, when you simplify this, this will be 3 here 3, 3 here 5. This will be negative 1 whole number 2 over 3. So when you combine this, we are going to have 13 over 5 is greater than or equal to x, which is greater than or equal to 5 over 3. Then when you are told to state all the integral values, remember that this can be done like this. In decimal form, these will be, let us see them in decimal form. Negative 5 over 3 is simply like 0.6, negative 0.6, meaning I can have here negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Negative 0.6 is somewhere between 0 and negative 1. And negative and 2.6 is somewhere between 2 and 3. So these ones are shaded. These whole numbers here are the integral values. So when you are asked about the integral values, the answer is going to be 0, 1, and 2. 0, in fact, we are having, sorry, this, when you add negative 5, negative 5.3, 5 over 3, negative 5 over 3 is, let me see that. That should be 1.2 6, not 0 point. This should have been 1.6. So if it's negative 1.6, it should have been somewhere here, not at this particular point. Let me show the colorations. This is negative 1, negative 2. So it should have been somewhere here. So even negative 1 is an integral value. So we have negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. The integral values for this particular question, we have negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. Remember, integral value should be whole numbers. Let us take note of those observations. Let's now switch to question number 5. We are switching to question number 5. Two customer service agents in a bank work such that the first one takes an average of 5 minutes while the second one takes an average of 8 minutes to serve a client. The counters are opened at 8 a.m. when the agents begin serving clients. At what time will they complete serving 182 clients? At what time are they going to take to serve 182 clients? So you have to pick it this way. We can have two approaches to this particular question. We can have two approaches to this particular question. Let's get the fraction of the client served in 1 minute. I want first to compute the fraction of the client served. The fraction of the client served in 1 minute. This will be given by the first teller takes 5 minutes, so that will be 1 over 5 added to 1 over 8. This will be equivalent to 13 out of 40. 13 out of 40. That is the fraction of the client served in 1 minute. Then we are going to say, if in 1 minute we serve 13 out of 40 clients, 13 out of 40 clients, what about 182 clients? What about 182 clients? 182 clients. We cross multiply. This will be like saying 1 multiplied by 182. Then you divide this by 13 out of 40. When you perform that division, you are going to get your time in minutes. So that will be now 182 being divided by 13 out of 40 to give you 560 minutes. 560 minutes. That is the time in minutes it will take to serve the 182 clients. So what is the time in hours now? To compute now the time in hours, we are going to take 560, we divide it by 60, and this will give you, when you divide this by 60, you are going to get 9 hours 20 minutes. 9 hours 20 minutes. So it will take 9 full hours and 20 minutes to serve those clients. So now to get the time of the day, we are going now to have these as, they opened at 8:00 a.m. and took 9 hours 20 minutes, meaning they finished at 17:20 hours. So they finished at 17:20 hours, or you can write your answer as 5:20 p.m. 5:20 p.m. That is how you could have approached this particular question. That is how you could have approached this particular question. Let's go and look at now the next part of our discussion, ladies and gentlemen. Question number 6. Don't forget commenting, telling us how you are enjoying this particular lesson. Solve for the values of x and y. You've been given 36 power x multiplied by 48 power y should be equivalent to 192. That is what you've been given. So let us see this. There is one thing I want my learners to understand, that 192 can be expressed as 2 to the power of 6 multiplied by 3 to the power of 1. Then the number 36 can also be expressed to 2 to the power of 2 multiplied by 3 to the power of 2. 3 to the power of 2. Then we have also this number 48, which we can express as 2 to the power of 4 multiplied by 3 to the power of 1. So when you are given 36x times 48y should be equal to 192, this can be broken down. This can be broken down to, we know that 36 can be written as 2 squared times 3 squared. So this can be written as 2 squared multiplied by 3 squared. But remember, this was to the power of x, because 36 was to the power of x. So power x, then you multiply by 48, which can be written as 2 to the power of 4 multiplied by 3 to the power of 1. All of 48 was to the power of y, should be equal to 192, which is like saying 2 power 6 multiplied by 3 power 1. That's what we are having. Now let's distribute the powers here. This will be 2 to the power of 2x multiplied by 3 to the power of 2x, then times 2 to the power of 4y multiplied by 3 to the power of y. This should be equivalent to 2 power 6 multiplied by 3 power 1. That's what we have. Upon reaching this particular step, what are we going to have? Let's combine those with the power of 2's. Remember, we have a law in indices that says a to the power of m multiplied by a to the power of n can be written as a to the power of m plus n. Applying that law, we are going to sum this into this particular step. So this can be written as 2 to the power of 2x being multiplied by 2 to the power of 4y being multiplied now by 3 to the power of 2x being multiplied by 3 to the power of y to give me 2 to power 6 multiplied by 3 power 1. We are at that particular step, just some distance away from the correct answer. Then now, applying this law I've written at the top here, we can combine those with base 2. 2 power 2x multiplied by 2 power 4y. This can be written as 2. This we can write it now to 2 to the power of 2x plus 4y multiplied by 3 to the power of 2x plus y This should be equivalent to 2 power 6 multiplied by 3 power 1. So, let's now equate those with the same basis. We have 2 power 2x plus 4y. This should be equal to 2 to the power of 6. Then in the next case, we can also have 3 to the power of 2x plus y should be equivalent to 3 to the power of 1. If the bases are the same, we can drop the bases and proceed with the powers. Based on the first equation now, we can have 2x plus 4y is equal to 6. Then 2x plus y is equivalent to 1. We form two equations which we can now solve simultaneously to get the values of x and y that the equation requires. We can solve this equation simultaneously now. How are we going to solve them simultaneously? Let me see. When you have 2x plus 4y being equivalent to 6, and the second equation has 2x plus y being equivalent to 1, you can do direct subtraction. 2x minus 2x will become 0, meaning they are going to vanish. Then 4y minus y, this will be now 3y, being equivalent to 6 minus 1, which is going to give you a 5. So you have 3y is equals to 5. Dividing through by 3, you get y is equivalent to 5 over 3. The value of y is 5 over 3, which is just like saying 1 2/3. How do we get now the value of x? We can fit to either of the equation. So I have here 2x plus y, which is now 5 over 3. It should give me 1. So this means that 2x will be equal to 1 minus 5 over 3. When you take 1, you minus 5 over 3, you are going to get negative 2 over 3. This is negative 2 over 3. When you divide through by 2, you're going to get x being equals to negative 2 over 6, which can be written as negative 1/3. So, the question was asking for the values of x and y, and we've solved the question well, and we've gotten our final answer as x is equivalent to negative 1/3. We've also found y being equivalent to one whole number, 2 over 3. That is how you should have worked out that particular question to get it correct. Let's make progress to question number 7 of this wonderful discussion. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our videos with your other friends. Let's make progress to question number 7. A 2-digit number is 3 more than 4 times the sum of its digits. If the digits are reversed, the new number formed exceeds the original number by 18. Find the number. Find the number. So they are talking about a 2-digit number. So let the digits of the number be x and y. I can say, for instance, here, let, remember this is a word problem question, part of algebra. We can say let the number be xy. Then they are saying a 2-digit number is 3 more than 4 times the sum of the digits. When they say if the digits are x and y, what will be the number? Remember the place value of 1, y is ones, and the place value of x is tens. To get the digit, or rather to get the value of a number, we do take the total values of the digits, then we add. The total value of digit x will be x times 10, which will be 10x, plus the total value of digit y, which is y times 1 to make it y. So this is the number 10x plus y. This is the number. So if this is the number now 10x plus y, a 2-digit number is 3 more than 4 times the sum of its digits. When they talk about the sum of the digits, they are talking about x plus y. But now 4 times the sum, it will be 4 times that. But now they are saying that this number is 3 more than 4 times the sum of the digits. That means when I take the number which is now 10x plus y, when you take the number which is now 10x plus y, I subtract 4 times the sum of the digits. I subtract 4 into the sum of the digits, which is x plus y. The difference should be 3. This is what the question means. Upon trying to solve it, we are seeing this is 10x plus y minus 4x minus 4y is equal to 3. 10x minus 4x, this is 6x. Then y minus 4y, that will be minus 3y, is equivalent to 3. This can further be simplified by dividing through by 3. This makes it to be 2x minus y is equivalent to 1. And this is going to become equation 1 of our discussion. After forming equation 1, we make progress. After forming equation 1, we are now being told that if the digits are reversed, when you now reverse the digits, we are going to have now them as y, x. Now, the new number formed, let's get the new number. The new number will now be given by 10y plus x, because now the total value of y will be 10s, so 10 times y, then the total value of x will be 1s, 1 times x. So this is the new number. So the new number formed exceeds the original number by 18. Remember, this 10x plus y was our original number. So they are saying the new number exceeds the original number by 18. It means when I take the new number, that is 10y plus x, I subtract the original number, which we found as 10x plus y. The difference here should be 18. Then let's open the brackets. This will be 10y plus x. Then you minus 10x minus y. This should give you 18. Collecting like terms, we are going to have 10y minus y. This will be now 9y. Then x minus 10x, this will be negative 9x, is equivalent to 18. This fraction can be reduced, or rather can be simplified by dividing through by 9 to make it y minus x, being equivalent now to 2. When you look at that particular question, this gives you equation 2. So now we can solve the two formed equations simultaneously to get the values of x and y. In the first equation, we had 2x minus y being equivalent to 1. The next equation, we had y minus x, which is just like saying negative x plus y being equivalent to 2. How do I solve this? I can easily eliminate the y by doing the addition of the two equations. Now, 2x plus negative x, this will become x. Negative y plus y is a 0. So this will become x is equal to 1 plus 2, which is 3. So the value of x is 3. How do you get the value of y? You know that y minus x is equal to 2. So this means y minus x, which is now in this case 3, to give you 2. This will mean y will be equal to 2 plus 3. Therefore, the value of y will be equivalent to 5. Then the question is find the number. Our number was 10x plus y. So it was 10x plus y, which will be now 10 into x, which is 3, plus 10, which is 5. This is 30 plus 5 to make the number 35. Our number was 35 for that particular question, 35. Thank you for watching that question. If you feel you've understood, go to the chat section and drop a comment saying, I am learning. Let's look at question number 8 of this wonderful discussion. Question number 8 of this wonderful discussion. Question number 8. We are being told in question number 8 that the distance between town A and B is 400 kilometers. A bus traveling at an average speed of 70 kilometers per hour left town A for town B at 7:30 a.m. 42 minutes later, a car left town B for town A and met with the bus 180 kilometers from B. Determine the average speed of the car. You are being told to determine the average speed of the car. This is a Form 2 question from linear motion. A Form 2 question from linear motion. So we have two towns here. We are having two towns. That is town A and town B. The distance here is 400 kilometers. A bus traveling at a speed of 70 kilometers per hour left town A for town B. So we have a bus here. It was moving at a speed of 70 kilometers per hour. It left at 7:30 a.m. 42 minutes later, a car left town B for town A. We have also a car which left town B for town A 42 minutes later. What is this that is 42 minutes later? When you take 7:30, then you add 42 minutes, this will be 72. You less from 60, this is like saying 12. So this is, it left at 8:12 a.m. And it was moving. It met with the bus at 180 kilometers from B. 180 kilometers from B. Determine the speed of the car. So what I'll say here is, let the speed of the car, I can say, let the car's speed be k, or rather, yes, k kilometers per hour. That is the speed of the car. K kilometers per hour. After getting that as the speed of the car, let us now look at this question. If they met at a particular point 180 kilometers from B, let's get the distance covered by the bus to the meeting point. Distance covered by bus to the meeting point. To get that particular distance, we are going to take 400, you minus 180. This is equivalent to 220 kilometers. That is the distance covered by the bus to the meeting point. After getting that particular distance, let's now get the time taken by the bus to arrive at the meeting point. Time taken by bus to meet the car. You know, for the bus to meet the car, Time is given by distance over speed. For the bus to meet the car, it has to cover a distance of 220 kilometers, but it was moving at a speed of 70 kilometers per hour. So this becomes, when you take 220, you divide by 70. 220 divided by 70. This is equivalent to 22 over 7 hours. 22 over 7 hours. That is the time it took. That is the time it took. Let's also get it this way. After getting that particular calculation, we are being told that 42 minutes later, a car left town B. So a car, because the bus traveled for 22 over 7 hours, then the car had a delay of 42 minutes later. So let's get the time taken by the car to meet the bus. Time taken by car to meet the bus. You take the total time taken by the bus, which is 22 over 7. You less the 42 minutes. In hours, that's like saying 42 over 60. This means when you less 42 over 60, you are going to get 100. Let me have it as let me have this as, when you do the subtractioning, 171 over 70 hours. 171 over 70 hours. So that means that the car had to travel for 171 over 70 hours is when it met the bus. But what was the distance? Because they met at a distance of 180 kilometers from B, that means the car traveled a distance of 180 kilometers in 171 over 70 hours. So let's get distance covered by car to meet the bus. Because this 180 is from B, so it means the distance it covered, it was 180 kilometers. Now they want to get this car speed. To compute now the car speed, ladies and gentlemen, it is distance divided by time. We are going to have the distance of the car. It traveled 180 kilometers. You divide this by the time it took, which is 171 over 70 hours. So this will become 180 multiplied by 70 over 171. And this will become, when you take 180 and you multiply by that, you are going to get this as 73 whole number 13 over 19. So this is 73 whole number 13 over 19 kilometers per hour. Kilometers per hour. That is the car's speed. That is the car's average speed for that particular question. A very, very good question. Let's now go to question number 9 of our discussion. This is a very interesting paper. Don't forget to watch and share it to your other friends. Find the inverse of the matrix 4335. Before we get the inverse, we have to get what we do call the determinant. We have to start by getting the determinant of this particular matrix. determinant. And how do you get the determinant? The product of elements in the main diagonal, that is 4 multiplied by 5. You minus the product of elements in the minor diagonal, 3 multiplied by 3. So 4 by 5, this gives you 9. 4 by 5 gives you 20 here. 4 by 5 is giving us 20. Then 3 by 3 gives you 9. 20 minus 9, you get 11. So our determinant is 11. After getting now our determinant, we can proceed and get the inverse. To get now the inverse, it's normally 1 over the determinant, which is now 1 over 11, into the elements in the main diagonal interchange. This will become, the sign changes, -3, -3. You can leave it at that particular point, still it's correct, or we can proceed and make it to be 5 over 11, -3 over 11, -3 over 11, 4 over 11. We can have it even that way, still it's correct. At B of the very question, we are being told, hence, solve the simultaneous equation. When you are told to solve the simultaneous equation using this matrix method, it's very important. The equation is 4x plus 3y is equal to 6, and 3x plus 5y is equal to 5. So when you look at those two simultaneous equations, they are linear equations. First, let's write the matrix equation. The matrix equivalent equation of the same will be 4, 3, 3, 5, xy being equivalent to 6, 5. That is the matrix equivalent. So, to use the matrix, when using matrix method, we are going to pre-multiply the inverse of the matrix to either side of the equal sign. So I'll have here 5 over 11, -3 over 11, then -3 over 11, 4 over 11. We pre-multiply to the left, which had 4, 3, 3, 5, xy. This should be equal to the right we still pre-multiply. To pre-multiply, meaning you start by the inverse matrix, 5 over 11, -3 over 11, -3 over 11, 4 over 11, multiplied by 6, 5. Now, we are one step closer to the answer. Remember, inverse of the matrix times the matrix itself is going to give you an identity matrix of the form 1, 0, 0, 1, xy being equivalent to, how do we normally do the multiplication, ladies and gentlemen? We do multiply row by column. So, for the first value, we are going to take 5 over 11 being multiplied by 6 plus -3 over 11 being multiplied by 5. This is going to give you, I want you to be very, very keen with this question. This is giving one whole number, 4 over 11, one whole number, 4 over 11. Then for the next one again, we are going to take the lower row times the column. So that will be still -3 over 11 being multiplied by 6 plus 4 over 11 being multiplied by 5. And this is going to give you 2 over 11. So when you reach that particular point, we know that when you multiply identity matrix times the matrix, you will be getting the matrix. So this will be xy is equivalent to 1 4/11 and 2/11. So this will mean that now we are going to have x being equivalent to one whole number 4/11 and y being equivalent to 2/11. Those are the values of x and y by use of the matrix method. If you are gaining something, ladies and gentlemen, if you are gaining something, go to the chat section and drop a comment saying, I am learning. Go and drop a comment saying, I am learning. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our videos with your other friends. Let's have a look at the next question of discussion, ladies and gentlemen. We are now going to question number 10 of the section 1 of this wonderful paper. Question number 10. We are now in question number 10, which is a very common question in math paper 1. The interior angle of a polygon with 3 y sides exceeds the interior angle of another polygon with y sides by 40 degrees. Determine the value of y. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to agree here. These are the number of sides. We are supposed to determine the value of y. So let's get the exterior angle for the polygon with 3 y sides. Let's compute the exterior angle of the 3 y-sided polygon. How do you get the exterior angle? It is 360 over n, the number of sides, which in this case we are going to have as 360 of all over the 360 over 3y, which can be simplified to 120 over y. That is the exterior angle of the regular polygon. Let's also compute the exterior angle of a y-sided polygon. Exterior angle of the y-sided polygon. The exterior angle of any polygon is normally given by 360 divided by n, where n is the number of sides. So in this case, it's going to be 360 divided by the number of sides of this polygon, which is y. So that is 360 over y. After that interpretation, let's get the interior angles. Remember, when you have a polygon, say for example, this is our polygon, ladies and gentlemen, angle A, angle B, angle C, D, E, F. Those are interior angles, but look at this angle G. Angle G is exterior angle, and when you look at G and A, they are supplements of each other. Then it means exterior angle plus interior angle, I should be able to get 180 degrees. That means we should be learning something. If I want to get the interior angle of any polygon, I'm going to take 180 minus its corresponding exterior angle. That is what the statement means. And if we concur up to that particular point, then let's get the size of one interior angle of a three-sided polygon. So, interior angle of the 3y sided polygon will be given by 180 minus its exterior angle, which is 120 over y. Then likewise, let's get the interior angle of the y sided polygon, which will be given by 180 minus its exterior angle, which is 360 over y. But now we are being told that the interior angle of a polygon with three y sides exceeds the interior angle of another regular polygon with y sides by 40. That statement means, that particular statement simply means, when I take 180 minus 120 over y, which is the interior angle of our 3y sided polygon, I minus the interior angle of our y sided polygon, which is 180 minus 360 over y, the difference will be equal to 40 degrees. That is what it means. Then here, you are free to open the brackets. We are going to have this as 180 minus 120 over y minus 180 plus 360 over y. This gives me 40. So 180 minus 180 minus 180, they will cancel out. So this one here and this one here will cancel out. Once they cancel out, now I'm left with negative 120y plus 360y. This will become 240y. Sorry, negative 120 over y plus 360 over y. This will become 240 over y, being equivalent now to 40. And when we are at that particular juncture, we are closer to the answer once again. We are very, very close to the answer. Because we've found 240 over y is equivalent to 40, we can cross multiply. This will mean y multiplied by 40 should give me 240. So this will be 40y is equal to 240, meaning to get the value of y, we are going to take 240, then we divide this by 40. This will give you y. This will give you y being equivalent to, this is going to give you y, this is going to give you y being equivalent to 6 sides. That will mean that y is equivalent to 6 sides. You can see how I've arranged my work. Very, very interesting questions here. Let's go to question number 11 of our discussion. Question number 11 of our discussion. A particle is projected from the origin. A particle is projected from the origin. Its speed was recorded as shown in the table below. Its speed was recorded as shown in the table below. You can see the time in seconds and the speed in meters per second. Use trapezoidal rule with 8 ordinates to estimate the distance covered by the particle within the 35 seconds. So, when you have such a particular question, ladies and gentlemen, what should be your take? You have to understand first the formula that, but before we get the formula, we know that area is given by a half h into y naught plus yn, meaning the sum of the ends, plus 2 into the sum of the middles, which is now y1 plus y2 plus y3 plus y4 plus y5 plus y6. This formula is very important. But now the biggest question here is, how are we going to get the h? How are we going to get the h? There are things I want to highlight here. One, we are talking about the trapezoidal rule and the ordinates. In the trapezoidal rule, I want you to get this clearly, ladies and gentlemen, from STEM Smart Academy, that the number of ordinates exceed the number of strips by 1. This is when you are dealing with the with the trapezoidal rule, unlike the mid-ordinate rule, where the number of ordinates equal to the number of the strips. So in this case, if we have 8 ordinates, it means we have 7 strips. And now if we have 7 strips, we can calculate h, because h is normally given by xn minus x naught over the number of strips. Our last value here will be 35 minus 0 divided by the number of strips now, which we've said to be 7. So the value of h is going to be 5. The value of h in that particular case, the value of h is going to be 5. The value of h is going to be 5. After getting now the value of h is 5, we can now go and do the replacement here. We can now go and do the substitution. This will be a half multiplied by the h. Our h for this particular question we've seen as 5, and I've explained how it comes. So multiply this by 5 into, take the sum of the ends, that is the 0 plus the 2.6, close it, plus 2 into the middle sum, that is 2.1 plus 5.3 plus 5.1 plus 6.8 plus 6.7 plus 4.7. I hope that is very clear, and I want to get well how I'm working it out. A half times 5, that's like saying 5 over 2 being multiplied, we have here 5 over 2. Then you open your pair of curly brackets. 0 plus 2.6, this will be 2.6 plus, let us sum these middle values here. That is 2.1 plus 5.3 plus 5.1 plus 6.8 plus 6.7 plus 4.7. Then multiply that by 2. This becomes 61.4. 61.4. Then after that, let's sum. This will be now again 5 over 2 into 61.4 plus 2.6. This becomes 64. Then now you multiply 64 by 5 over 2. When you multiply that by 5 over 2, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting 160. Because they wanted the distance, this is now 160 meters. 160 meters. Let's talk of it as square meters. Or rather, so not square meters, but square units. Because that is the formula for getting the area. 160 square units. That is how you use the trapezoidal rule to estimate that. A very, very good and engaging question. If you feel you've understood this part, go to the comment section and drop a comment saying, I am learning. Let's look at question number 12. Question number 12. That is a very, very simple question once again. The angle of elevation of the top of Mount Kenya from a point V on the horizontal ground is 22 degrees. From a point P, 2,000 meters closer to the mountain and on the same horizontal ground, the angle of elevation is 40 degrees. Calculate to the length of the shortest distance from P to the to the top of the mountain. So let's say this is the height of our mountain. This is the height of our mountain, and this is the ground level. So we are going to have a diagram like this, and I'm going to explain it bit by bit so that you understand. From a point P, from a point V on a ground, 22, the angle of elevation is 22. So we have this particular point V here, where this angle of elevation is 22 degrees. From a point P, 2,000 meters closer to the mountain. I want you to understand the language there. So it means we have another point P, but now this point P is 2,000 meters closer to the mountain. When they talk about closer, closer is a comparison term. They have compared the distance of V and P from the mountain. So this distance here is 2,000 meters. The angle of elevation at that particular point is 40 degrees. Calculate the shortest distance from P to the top of the mountain. The shortest distance of P to the top of the mountain. This is the top of our mountain. That shortest distance P, the shortest distance will now be, from P it will be now the hypotenuse part. So let us see how we are going to break down this concept. We are going to apply this principle on soccer tower. Let me call this height of the mountain H. And let me call the distance from the bottom of the mountain to P, K. I hope that is well elaborated. Let me start by getting the tangent of 22. When I talk about tan 22, tan is opposite of adjacent. The opposite part of it is H. Over the adjacent, the total base will be K plus 2,000. K plus 2,000. If I make H the subject of the formula, I'm going to have h when I cross multiply being equivalent to k plus 2000 tan 22. Tan 22, that is your height. That will give you the height of that mountain. After getting the height of the mountain, we can form another equation by talking about tan 40. Tan 40 in this particular case will be given by the opposite which is h over the adjacent which is x. When you cross multiply and make h the subject of the formula, you're going to get your h being equivalent to x tan 40. Where did, not really x, it was adjacent, our adjacent here is k. I said let that the distance from P to the base of the mountain be k. So this is h over k. So this becomes k tan 40. Because all these two equations symbolize the h, then meaning we can equate them. And once we equate, we are going to have this as k tan 40 is equivalent to k plus 2000 tan 22. That is what we have. That is what we are having. And when we are at this particular point, what are we going to do? Let us see. So what is tan 40? What is tan 40? Tan 40 is 0.8391. So this is like saying 0.8391k is equivalent to k plus 2000 into tan 22. Let's compute tan 22, and that gives you 0.404. When you open the brackets, this will be 0.8391k is equivalent to 0.404k plus, when you take 2000, you multiply by 0.404, this gives you 808. Then you collect like terms, this will be 0.8391k minus 0.404k. This should be equivalent to 808. Then let's do our subtraction. 0.8391 minus 0.4041, that will give you 0.435k, which will be equivalent to 808. When you want to get the value of k, meaning we are going to divide both sides by 0.435. And when you divide by that, you're going to get the value of k being equivalent to 808. Divide this by 0.435. This will give the value of k as, when you divide 8 divided by 0.435, you get 1857.471264. That is meters. That is meters. So that is the value of k. But have we responded to the question? We are yet to. Why? They want the shortest distance from the point P to the top of the mountain. They want the shortest distance. The shortest distance, if you stand at this particular point P and you want to come to the top here, then the shortest distance is this distance here, which is the hypotenuse. And to get that, we are going to use a certain trigonometric ratio. We can talk about sine 40. Sine is so opposite, which is, do we have the h value? Let me see. I want to talk about, why should we talk about really the sine here? Because this will be giving some things that we are yet to get. The length of the shortest distance from P to the top of the mountain. I'm trying to see something here. When we talk about that, so will not give us what we want. So might not give us what we want. But we can get which trigonometric ratio? We have now the value of K. And we want, that's adjacent and hypotenuse. I can use cos instead of sine. Let me use cos 40. Because cos 40 will now be adjacent, which is 1857.471264 divided by hypotenuse h. This will mean our height h will be given by 18. I don't want really to call it h. Let me call it divided by the hypotenuse. So our hypotenuse will now be given by 1857.471264 divided by cos 40. When you divide that particular part by cos 40 now, let's divide this by cos 40. This will give you 2424. This will give you 2424.756528 meters. This is the shortest distance from the point P. I told you, look at this point P. When you want to go to the top of the mountain using the shortest distance, it should be this hypotenuse. So in other words, we were to get the hypotenuse value to that particular question, ladies and gentlemen. Let's make, after getting that, I think you've understood something. Let's get now to question number 13. Question number 13 of our revision program. Find the equation of the normal to the curve y is equal to x squared minus 3x minus 4 at the point x is equivalent to 3. So we have the equation y being equal to x squared, you minus 3x minus 4 at the point x is equal to 3. So first of all, let's get when x is equal to 3, what's the value of y? At x is equal to 3, the value of y can be given as, that will be now 3 squared minus 3 into 3 minus 4. So the value of y is going to be negative 4. So that point will be 3, negative 4. After getting the coordinate value of that point, let's now look at the question. Find the equation of the normal to the curve. So when you have the curve y is equal to x squared minus 3x minus 4, let's compute the gradient function of the curve. So the gradient function of the curve, that's our dy dx. Our dy dx will be given by, you differentiate, this will be 2x minus 3. After getting our dy dx, let's get the gradient of the tangent. Gradient of the tangent. How do you get the gradient of the tangent? You feed 3 to your gradient function. You feed the value of x to the gradient function. So it will be now 2 into 3 minus 3. So the gradient of the tangent becomes, this is 6 minus 3 to give you 3. The gradient of the tangent is 3. But now they are talking about the normal. Remember that the tangent and the normal are always perpendicular. So that means m1, m2 is equivalent to -1. So to get the gradient of the normal, it will be now -1 over 3. The gradient of the normal will be now -1 over 3 because the normal and the tangent are always perpendicular. After that, because we have the point 3, -4, we have found the gradient of our normal being equal to -1 over 3. Now we can get the equation of the normal because we'll now say y minus -4 over x minus 3 to be equal to -1 over 3. When you cross multiply, this will be now 3 into y minus -4 will be like saying y plus 4 is equal to -1 into x minus 3. This will be now 3y, you minus 12, being equivalent to -x plus 3. This will be now 3y is equal to -x plus 3 plus 12. We are progressing very, very well. So when you are here, this will be now 3y is equivalent to -x plus 15. In form of now y, I want to leave my answer in form of y is equal to maybe mx plus c, meaning I'm going to divide through by 3. I'll have y being equivalent to -1/3 x plus 5. And that gives the equation of the normal to the curve. The equation of the normal to this curve. Hope you've understood. Whereby we had y plus 4 over x minus 3 being equal to that. I hope the point is at home. It is my hope that everything here has been well broken down. Let me see. Yes, everything here has been well been broken down. So -1/3 x plus 5 as the answer to that particular question number 13 of this paper. Let us have a look at question number 14. The length of the major, let's have a look at this question number 14. The length of the major and the minor arcs of a circle are 154 centimeters and 110 centimeters respectively. Taking pi to be 22/7, find the angle subtended at the center by the minor arc. The angle subtended at the center by the minor arc. Thank you. I'm seeing so many people tuning in. Some are even asking for the grade 8 papers, open exams. They are coming soon. I'm seeing someone watching from Waita Kilu. I'm also having someone following live from Chuka. Wonderful. I recognize your presence, dear learners. Keep following and success will come your way. So they are talking about arcs of a circle. Let's have a sketch. If this is my circle, then I have, say for example, I have something like this. This is the center. When I have like this shaded part, this is this A, let me have it this way. If this is my circle, I can have point A, point B, I can have here P, I can have here N. So when I talk about the minor arc, this is the arc APB, and when I talk about the major arc, this is the arc A and B. That is the major difference. So they are saying that the length of the minor arc, the major and the minor arc are 154 and 110 degrees respectively. Find the angle subtended at the center by the minor arc. How are we going to approach this particular question? The concept is very, very simple and you don't have to struggle. The concept is very, very simple and you don't have to struggle. So the secret I can show you learners here is, I can say, let the angle subtended by the major arc be alpha, for example. This angle subtended by the major arc, let it be alpha. And the angle subtended by the minor arc, let it be beta. So the major arc subtends an angle of alpha degrees, and the minor arc subtends an angle of beta degrees. So let us now get the length of the major arc. Let's get the length of the major arc. Length of the major arc. This is given by theta over 360 2 pi r. But what is this major arc? The length of the major arc is 154. So this will be now 154 is equivalent to, theta is the angle subtended by the major arc, which is alpha over 360 being multiplied by 2 by 22 over 7 by r. So this will now become, I want you to be very, very keen with this type of questions. When you make alpha the subject of the formula, we are going to have alpha being now equivalent to 154 multiplied by 360 multiplied by 7 all over 2 multiplied by 22r. That is the size of your alpha angle. After getting the size of your alpha angle, we can now make progress and go. Are we leaving it at that particular point? I think this one even we can refine it further such that now this can be, let me see, 154 times 360 times 7 divided by 44. This can be 8,820 over r. 8820 over r. So the value of that alpha is 8820 over r. After getting it that way, Ladies and gentlemen, let's also calculate the length of the minor arc. The length of the minor arc, is given by, remember, length of an arc is normally given by theta over 360 multiplied by 2 pi r. So the length of the minor arc we were told is 110. So we're going to have here 110 is equal to, theta is the angle subtended by the minor arc. In our case, we call it beta. Beta over 360 multiplied by 2 multiplied by pi, which is 22 over 7 multiplied by r. When you make beta the subject of the formula, this is now going to be equal to, 110 multiplied by 360 multiplied by 7 divided by 2 multiplied by 22r. So our beta is going to give you a value of, when you take 110, you multiply by 360 by 7, then you divide this by 44. This gives you 6300 over r. 6300 over r. Now, after we've reached here, we are almost closer to the answer, just some inches away from the answer. Remember, the question is 4 marks. We are just some inches away from the answer. Now look again at our angle, our circle. This is angles at a point. We know that angles at a point add up to 360 degrees. So when I take the size of alpha plus beta, it should give me 360 degrees. Alpha plus beta should give me 360 degrees. Applying that, my alpha is 8820 over r plus 6300 over r. This should be equivalent to 360 degrees. When you add this, 8820 plus 6300, that is 15120. 15120 over r. This is equivalent to 360. To get the value of r when you cross multiply, r will be given by 15120 divided by 360. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get the value of r as 42 centimeters. 42 centimeters. This is the value of our r. 42 centimeters. After getting the value of r, they are asking, we find the angle subtended at the center by the minor arc. Angle subtended at the center by the minor arc. Remember, the angle subtended at the center by the minor arc was beta, and we had said here that beta is given by 6300 all over r. So this will be 6300 over 42. When you divide 6300 by 42, you get 150 degrees. So that is the angle that is being subtended by the minor arc at the center of the circle. And that's how you earn your 4 marks in that particular question. If you feel you are gaining a lot, go to the comment section and drop a comment saying, I am learning. Just go and drop a comment saying, I am learning. I am learning. Then share this link widely to your other friends so that they can also follow up along the same thing. They can also follow up along the same thing. Let us have a look at question number 15, ladies and gentlemen. Question number 15. 5 weeks after a reforestation project began, the heights of young saplings were recorded to the nearest centimeter. The frequency distribution of their heights is shown in the table below. 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, like that. We have the frequencies, then the cumulative frequency row that is blank. Part A says, complete the table by entering the cumulative frequency values, then you earn your 1 mark. You earn your 1 mark. The first value of the CF should be equal to the first value of the frequency 5. So that will make it to be 5. This particular point, we are going to have it as 5. I'm seeing so many people joining. I'm happy. At STEM Smart Academy, we are bringing this entirely for free. All you need is an internet connection and an access to a digital device. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share these wonderful videos to your other friends. Tell them that STEM Smart Academy is online school number 1. Online school number 1. So let's fill the CF column. The first value should be 5. Then 5 plus 12, that is 17. 17 plus 25, that is 42. 42 plus 10, that is 52. 52 plus 8, that is 60. We are done, and you've gotten your 1 mark. Then estimate the median height of the sampling. Before we estimate the median height, let's get the median position. The median position, it's normally the total frequency divided by 2. So the total frequency here is 60. You divide by 2. This is the 30th position. That's where the median lies in the CF. So now let's go to the CF and look at where does 30 lie. 30 cannot lie in 5 because 5 is small. It cannot belong to 17 because 17 is small, but it can belong to 42. So this becomes the median class. In case you are asked to get the median class, in case you get a question asking the median class, your answer will be 20 to 30. 20 to 30. In case you get asked about the median class. But now because we are estimating the median, let's apply the formula that median is given by L plus N over 2 minus CF over F times the interval I. Applying that, what will be our value of N? This is a question that will give learners a big challenge. Look at this. It ends with 10, with a 10 and starts with 10, ends with 20 and starts with 20. I hope you are getting my point here well. So, I hope you are getting my point here well. Did I add this well? 5, 7. Sorry, I had a skip because 17 plus, is it right? 17 plus 25. Yes, it is just correct. It is entirely correct. Let us make progress. That our L will be now 20. This continuous data, we are going to have exactly 20, not 19.5. So our value of L is 20. So we are going to have this as 20 plus N over 2, that will be 30, minus the CF above that class. The cumulative frequency above that class is 17. So this will be minus 17 all over the frequency of that class. which is 25, times the class interval. How do you get the class interval? 30 minus 20 to make it 10. So this will be now 20 plus 30 minus 17. You are going to get that as 13 times 10 divided by 5. That makes it to be, I've said 20 minus 17. Sorry, 30 minus 17 is 13 times 10 divided by 5. That makes it to be 26. So 20 plus 26, this gives you a median of 46. A median of 46 for that particular question. We have a median of 46 for that particular question. Let's now have a look at the last question of our discussion, which is question number 16. A point R, we have now to discuss this one here very well. A point R divides the line AB internally in the ratio 2:3. Using a ruler and a pair of compass only, locate the position of the point R and measure RB. When they say that it divides in the ratio 2:3, let's, do we have any line? Yes, we've been given a line. First of all, let's get the total ratio. The total ratio will be 2 plus 3 to give you a 5. After getting a 5 as our total ratio, now let us see how we are going to apply this. Let's see how we are going to apply this. I'm seeing someone saying, I'm learning. That's wonderful. Prof. Kilu. Jonte Otieno also saying, I'm learning. Someone is saying, please revise the color physics paper 2 and mathematics. They are coming very, very fast. I'm seeing a colleague that is ascending grades saying, following from Kibwezi, bro, I'm waiting for your papers. Wonderful. I'll share the papers. Let's keep following widely. Let's keep following widely as we keep preparing for our upcoming exams. So this point R divides the line AB in the ratio 2:3. Because we found the total ratio is 5, so we are going to make, once you've drawn the line AB, we are just going to draw another line. We are going to draw another line using a ruler, just a line, maybe from A this way. After drawing that particular line, I'm going to subdivide this line into 5 equal parts. How this drawn line, the bluish line, I have to subdivide it because the total ratio is 5. I have to subdivide it into 5 equal parts. Because I'm using a ruler and a pair of compass only, I can use a pair of compass, then with some set intervals, I can adjust my compass just to some radius of any choice, maybe even, I can even have a radius of maybe 1 centimeters. I'll stand at this particular point. Then I'll make cuts of equal intervals along this line I've drawn. I'll make 5 cuts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have to ensure those cuts are of equal intervals. After that particular step, I'm now going to use what is called a set square. when I use this set square, the reason as to I'm going to use this square, I'm going to slide that. I'm going first to align my set square. I'll align my set square in such a manner. Let me show you how I'll align my set square. I'll align my set square that way. Then I will slide it. I will slide it. Then with a ruler, the set square is there to ensure we draw parallel lines. So from here, go like that. You ensure you don't mess. Literally what we could have done, I could have, because I have to ensure that if the line is AB, I could have begun from the far part, this particular point here. I'll position my set square, then I join the end to B. I'm going to slide my set square in such a manner it maintains parallelism. Then make another line, go again, make another arc, go again, make another cutting, go again, make another cutting. I hope you've seen how I've done my cuttings. Now, when I'm done with my cuttings, they say that the line R divides AB internally in the ratio 2:3. So, I'll count 2 cuttings from A, 1, 2. This particular point will be where my R is, such that it divides the line AB in the ratio 2:3. 2:3. That is what you are supposed to do. Then when you are told to measure RB, now you can just measure the distance from R to B. This particular distance here is what you have to measure. This particular distance. When you measure the distance RB, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to get, if you did something accurate, you're going to get a measure of 7.2 centimeters. 7.2 centimeters as your answer to that particular part. So this is 7.2 centimeters. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our videos with your other friends. If you feel you've gained something in section 1 of this paper, go to the chat section and drop a comment saying, I am learning. I am learning. That is very nice. Thank you. Keep subscribing, liking, and sharing the videos with your other friends. See you in the section 2 of this paper shortly.